Hello and welcome to the Grand Line Review, your source for everything One Piece. My name is Liam, and when playing Scissors Paper Rock, I always choose Scissors first. My logic being that Rock is it's a bit too aggressive, and Paper is flimsy and weak, so it's Scissors it is. And that may be an unpopular choice, which would be very appropriate because today we're here to continue our quest to discover the most unpopular opinions in the One Piece fanbase. Although I have to say, the longer I do this, the more unpopular opinions become popular, and likewise, the popular opinions become shunned, rejected, and generally disappointing. Much like a Sanji to a judge. But here's an example. The Skypiea arc was weak and not that great. Now I remember a time when this was such an accepted opinion that you wouldn't even bother to state it, because it would be like saying I like breathing oxygen. But in recent years, Skypiea has undergone quite the renaissance, and people, myself included, appreciate it so much more than when they first went through the arc, because a lot of points that were set up during that time are finally starting to pay off. And I have a slightly bold prediction here, but give it a few years and I think you'll see the same thing happen for Fishman Island, because Fishman Island really is the new world Skypiea. It's very, very popular to hate on, and people tend to have this impression that it was a gigantic waste of time and effort. However, it sets up an incredible amount for the future, whether it be Joy Boy, Ancient Weapon, Charlie's Prediction, the Noah, Most Guard, and so on and so forth. So mark my words, in 3 to 5 years from now, we will all be ranting and raving about how Fishman Island was just the perfect One Piece arc. But today, that's highly unpopular, unlike the sponsor of today's video, Mech Arena, a casual mobile shooter great for doing all sorts of digital pew-pew activities and blowing off some steam. It's bright, sleek, and runs smoothly on almost any device, and I like it because I can invite literally anyone to come and play with me. Players can express themselves extensively with a variety of different mechs with different skins, like these bad boys, and don't they look great in battle? I think they do. You can even use different weapon combinations, of which I like this one for no useful reason, mind you. I just like the way stuff looks. I'm quite shallow like that. There's also a load of special events happening, like this new disc launcher weapon thing, or even special Halloween events where you can win super special Halloweeny skins. It's completely free to play on Android and iOS right now, and you can use my link in the description or scan my QR code to get 1 Forest digital skin, 200 A-coins, and 10,000 credits to help kickstart your game. And if you're quick, you can also add me to friends as Grand Line Guy, and we can play matches together, so don't wait around. And we won't, so let's get back to some unpopular opinions. Mihawk will join Shanks' crew. Now, I don't know if this is an opinion, it feels more like a theory. In any case, it's here now, and sure, why not? I mean, what else is Mihawk going to do? His ghost girlfriend left him, the Marines are invading his baboon-infested island, so what is he gonna do? He's gonna have to give up his agriculture hobby, that's what. But he really doesn't have all that much to live for except floating around the Grand Line in his fancy minimalist coffin boat. So it would be pretty amazing to see a sort of Shanks-Mihawk team-up. Seeing the two of them together would be almost comparable to seeing Big Mom and Kaido side by side. An absolutely unstoppable force with 1 emperor, 2 swords, and 3 arms between them. I actually wonder if Shanks has ever asked Mihawk to join his crew in the past. They're on such good, respectful terms, and after Shanks lost his arm, their rivalry kind of ceased to exist. But perhaps Mihawk pulled a Buggy and refused. Actually, here's a thought, just forget Mihawk. What if Buggy, having lost his warlord status, ended up running to Shanks for help? And that way, Buggy could lend Shanks a hand, like quite literally. Chopper becoming a cute mascot ruined his character as a scary monster that humans are afraid of. Yeah, so I've heard this, or I've heard variations on this opinion a fair bit. The more streamlined one is that people tend to really dislike Chopper's character design change, because whilst he was always adorable, he used to look much more animalistic, and over time he's gradually morphed into cuter and cuter incarnations. And in a way, sure, that does kind of stand in opposition to the idea of his whole character saga, of being or eventually even wanting to become a monster, because at this point he's just so lovable that every human looks at him and goes, "No, who wants a cotton candy? Is it you?" Or if you're a fake Robin, a pickle. On the other hand, you can get really wanky about this. And because I think that's what we do better than any other channel, we will. You could also make the argument that the incutening of Tony Chopper is a direct reflection of him becoming more comfortable with humans and vice versa. He doesn't consider himself some sort of abominable monster anymore, so this is his inner self shining through. But also, money. Like, lots of money. The cuter Chopper is, the more stuff he sells, and the more stuff I get to put on my toaster in my office, so there is that. There's more evidence for Usopp developing Conqueror's Haki than Sanji. I actually agree. And this isn't just Sanji slander either. I actually think that Usopp is in a much more natural position to be a user of Conqueror's Haki, given his desire to become a brave warrior of the sea, as well as his very persistent, albeit comical, attempts to become a leader. Whether it be captain of the Usopp Pirates claiming to be the captain of the Straw Hats, becoming the Tontada leader on Dressrosa, or even the godlike figurehead of the Colosseum fighters. And wow, I'm just starting to realize that Usopp gets put in leadership positions a lot more than I thought. Plus, there is the idea that all of his lies do eventually come true, and at this point in the series, he has now lied twice about having Conqueror's Haki. I honestly don't think it's the most ridiculous thing in the world. Whereas Sanji, despite his royal heritage, has no drive towards leadership. He's just a perverted chef focused on two things, cookin' and lookin', both for and at naked ladies. Garp is one of the most important character and should deserve more screen time. He certainly is, and he certainly does deserve more screen time, but should he have it though? I'm not so sure. I think that one of the reasons why Garp is so unfathomably popular is because he mainly exists as a legend. We know that he's history's most prolific marine, so that really sparks the imagination. Whereas if we did see him in action too much, or even if we see the events he was involved in with too much detail, then that imagine is replaced by the often disappointing dose of reality. And another example along these lines that I often cite is that I am almost certain that I would never want to see the full fight between Kuzan and Sakazuki, because nothing Oda draws or Toei animates will ever live up to the mystique that Oda created by simply showing the aftermath of that fight. And to emphasize this point further, Doflamingo lost a lot of intrigue for me when we got to the arc that was dedicated to him, which is exactly the kind of feeling I'm talking about. I don't at all blame the commenter for the loss of intrigue, because that's what happens when you reveal the answer to mysteries. The mystery itself ceases to be intriguing. And Doflamingo prior to Dressrosa was one mighty pink enigma. His desires, his power, his fashion sense, all of it was an unknown quantity, which is fascinating because we need to know the unknown. However, once the unknown becomes the known, then the need to know becomes no more. Luckily for Doflamingo, he was a solid enough character to endure the stripping of mystery, as stated by our next commenter. Crocodile isn't actually that great. Doflamingo is way better. However, in the same batch, we also have the opposing thought. Doflamingo is a good villain, but he isn't even comparable to Crocodile. And this is very unfortunate because what we have on our hands here is a popularity paradox, because only one of these statements can truly be considered an unpopular opinion. So to discover who was correct in their unpopularity, I decided to conduct a scientific YouTube poll asking the very specific question of who do you prefer? And as it turns out, about 2/3 of all Grand Fleet members prefer Doflamingo, meaning that the unpopular opinion award goes to Kirby in Hale's Jotaro, and congratulations on being in the minority, good sir. Well done. The Yonko having bounties is pointless because who the hell is gonna try claiming those bounties? Yeah, I think that's fair enough. Although I think this speaks to the bounty system in general. It's all a little bit pointless when you think about it, because firstly, there's almost no bounty hunters in the actual series. And in fact, almost every bounty hunter we know of has either turned into a pirate or retired from bounty hunting altogether. And I guess the bigger problem is that once a pirate becomes strong enough to be worth hundreds of millions, perhaps even billions of currency units, then the only people who can really take them down are other pirates. I mean, sure, there are high-ranking marines, but they don't get to claim bounties. Catching pirates is their duty. So bounties are meant to incentivize third parties into taking action, which just demonstrably doesn't work. The anime did it better by giving Ace more screen time in Alabasta. This is a thought I've never really considered, but yeah, there's some substance to it. I've always been slightly puzzled by the extreme popularity of Ace prior to the Luffy flashback, or prior to Marineford actually, because he never really did anything, in the manga that is. He showed up for a couple of chapters on Alabasta and then he just vanished immediately. And I guess then he had a nice cover story with a girl and some milk, but like that's not top 10 popularity kind of material, you know? However, in the anime, he stuck around for a long time, 5 or 6 episodes, I think it was. And although they were filler episodes, they did give people a lot of time to get to know Ace. And I would agree that in a world where filler does need to exist, bringing Ace along for that ride was one of the better decisions that Toei has ever made. Hancock isn't loved for her beauty, she is loved for how she treats Luffy. So apparently, whether this is popular or not, it's actually true. In a very similar Ace sort of effect, Boa Hancock is numerically, persistently, stratospherically popular. And conventional wisdom would say that there are two colossal reasons for this. But there is a competing thought out there that it has less to do with your typical fanboy wank desires and more that Hancock acts as a sort of audience surrogate. The concept that Hancock is adored because she loves Luffy, just as the overwhelming amount of One Piece fans do. So in a way, it's very easy to identify with Boa Hancock because there's a shared interest. That interest being getting some gomu gomu no dick. There's definitely more to Hancock than just fan service though, because in a series like One Piece, that kind of hollow appeal is not enough to keep consistently topping character polls filled with over 1,000 choices, or at least that's what I'd like to believe. If this raid fails, this will detract from the failure that will inevitably come in the war against Blackbeard. No, don't do this. As a very loud online fan base, we are only just now starting to accept that the raid on Onigashima will not fail. A thought which I blame solely on one person, although I would like to say that there is an amazing compilation video out there of Mr. Morj saying that the raid will fail, which I will leave a link to in the description.
The raid is gonna fail. Raid ending in failure is the raid failing. Hopefully. And Luffy is done for. Pretty sure he's dead. We were watching a character die before our eyes. No, I don't know. It's funny to me.
But back to the comment at hand. No, please don't give the raid failures a new thought to latch onto. It's been a very, very long wano to live with all of the raid fail acolytes. And I think it's about time that we all just accepted that One Piece isn't the gritty, realistic narrative that so many people seem to be pushing for. In the end, it's a series about hope and dreams, and just punching bad pirates in the face. That's what we're here for. As much as people hate Kanjuro for his betrayal, he is actually a very well-scripted character, an actor playing his role and never letting up no matter how far he's pressed. Right, so this might lead to an unpopular opinion of my own actually, but I think that hands down Kanjuro is the best villain on Wano. Orochi and Kaido have nothing on this guy. Kanjuro is someone who I am heavily invested in bringing down, because Oda created a really sharp and irredeemable character here. Plus he's both competent and a great force of anarchy on Onigashima. He has no real desire of his own, he just exists to make things go bad. Kanjuro has an almost Joker style X factor going on here where you can't reason with him or even really predict his actions. And I just love that sort of thing so much more than trying to stereotypically take over the world like Kaido, or just being a general dick in a box like Orochi. Frankie is extremely underrated because of how hyped the monster trio is. He could very easily replace Sanji or Zoro if he upgraded his body more. Alright, wow, well this is demonstrably unpopular. Because we did conduct a ranked choice poll on the Straw Hats, and according to a sample of 20,000 people, Frankie is by far the least favorite Straw Hat who is not the going merry, which does seem pretty wild, but then again, someone always has to be the least favorite, right? Because even in a group of exclusively amazing characters, you're still going to have a favorite and a least favorite among that group. And Frankie, look, unfortunately, that's just you. Sabo is a better character than Luffy. Right? Wow, we've definitely found it. This is the most unpopular opinion, not just in One Piece, but potentially all of media. And in fact, I feel dirty just having said it. So let's clean ourselves off with another video. It's also about One Piece, which is the thing that you like, because there's always more to learn, explore, and experience with this wonderful series, so I look forward to seeing you there. My name is Liam, and when playing Scissors Paper Rock, I always choose... Oh, I shouldn't do that to the audience.